Phillies dropped a tough one on the 4th of July yesterday, but doesn't mean the fact that we're not about to enter a very tough stretch of the schedule. So expectations and how important it was to maybe try to have gotten that win yesterday. It is what it is. We're going to talk about that. Eagles continuing our conversation of bigger losses slash bigger concerns, where we take a look at some of the defensive players that we lost and how we replaced them this offseason. We're going to talk about that as well. And anything else that comes up today. Trending in the AM on Edge of Philly Sports. We are live, taking all your thoughts and opinions in 60 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. We are live, Facebook, YouTube, not Twitter. Looks like there seems to be a Twitter connection issue this morning. We'll see what we could do about getting Twitter up and running at some point. But otherwise, we are on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch today, so make sure you do me that favor. Hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button, that follow button, wherever you are watching. Do what you can to get as many people to find the show and get as many people interactive and involved, because let's have a conversation today. Let's talk a little baseball. Let's talk a little football today. Let's talk a little Phillies. Let's talk a little Eagles. But do me that favor, hit that share button if you can. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel. As always, right here, you can find me on all platforms at Beard of Knowledge. You can shoot me a follow, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're hanging out. That's where I'm hanging out, guys. We got lots to talk about today. Let me see why we're not connecting here on Twitter. There seems to be a Twitter connection issue. Not really sure what the issue is, but we'll get with that. We'll deal with that as the day goes on. Hopefully it works. Hopefully it does. All right. I think it just connected us to the EOP Twitter page. So that's a start in the right direction right there. There we go. Got to get that up and going. All right, guys, lots to discuss. Good morning, Adam. Hope your 4th of July was good as well. Can't say mine was bad. Also can't say mine was great. It won't lie. I am just slightly, actually more than slightly, hungover. This is not going to be an easy show today. Yesterday wasn't easy. Oh, forget about that computer. I forgot to turn my backup computer on. Yesterday was a tough day for my personal things. Today is going to be a tough day because I partook in far too many adult beverages. I partook in far too many. And then today's going to be 92 degrees and 12 hours at a hot pizza shop. So it is what it is. But we got lots to talk about, guys. I want to talk about the Phillies. It was a tough loss yesterday. It really was against the Cubs. Nothing worked. The offense wasn't there. Christopher Sanchez came out after his Player of the Month award and threw his worst outing of the season. Unfortunate. The timing of yesterday's loss for the Phillies was extremely unfortunate. Extremely unfortunate because we're about to embark on a 6-game stretch of games off in Atlanta for the Braves for 3, and then 3 back home against the Dodgers, and it's 6 very crucial games against 6 games against teams that are right there on our heels. Braves in the division, obviously, the Dodgers for the 1 seed. So It's very unfortunate the Phillies were not able to get that win and that sweep yesterday. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We're also going to talk Eagles. Um, how much money did I lose? I did not hit one of the bets. I placed 3 bets on the game yesterday. Went 0 for 3. That's why I don't bet baseball. Stick to golf, K1. Betting on baseball is one of the biggest crapshoots in the world, and it's so hard to figure out. You know, it just is. So yeah, my bets were terrible yesterday. Football related conversation today. We spent some time talking about Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, Jason Kelsey, and that scenario on the offensive line, and how it concerns me. So I'm going to bring another question or concern to the table and ask you guys what concerns you more on the Eagles' defense. Does the loss of Fletcher Cox being replaced by a more bigger role with Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and Milton Williams concern you? Or does Bryce Huff replacing Haason Reddick concern you more? And I think that's a fun, interesting conversation to have because I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We know we've gotten Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams. Can they fill the role? Who, even as of last year, Fletcher Cox was still a very vital part of the Eagles defense. And on the flip side, Haason Reddick's one of the best edge rushers in football. Bryce Huff has done it once, has had one successful season. What's more important, replacing Cox or replacing Reddick? So I want to talk about that and get people's opinions on that as well today. So whatever else you want to talk about, drop it in the comments. Whatever else you want to converse about, you know how we do things here. Whatever you want to talk about, we are here to talk about it. But just make sure you guys hitting that like button. Help me get through this hangover too. The Tylenol's in. I'm on cup of coffee I'm halfway through one. I got a second cup of coffee here, ready to go. So the coffee will be flowing. The coffee will be used to get me through today. Your comments and your thoughts will be used to get me through today. But this is one of those shows where I am going to need you more than ever. But guys, anyway, so yesterday Phillies lose 10-2 to the Cubs. Braves lose again, so they still have the 9-game division. We're about to start 3 games. Obviously, the Braves have some of their best pitchers going this weekend in this series on the road. After the loss yesterday, it's imperative over the next 6 games that we go 3-3. We don't want to let this 6-game stretch before the All-Star game or All-Star break be something that could put some negative momentum going into this break. Now, there's rumors that we might get Kyle Schwarber back in the next day or two, that he's 95%, ready to return. So at some point in this Brave series, we might. Rumors are we might get Bryce Harper back by the Dodgers series next week, which is kind of crazy and lucky. But we need those guys back. And yes, sometimes this offense of the Phillies is kind of fun. Sometimes this offense of the Phillies is surviving without all these big guns. But realistically, entering a Braves and Dodgers 6-game stretch, it's nearly impossible to expect them to be able to really, really put the offensive foot forward that they normally do without Bryce Harper, without Kyle Schwarber, without JT Realmuto. Good morning, Teresa. How are you? Hope you are well today. You know what? The Phillies, they're in a tough spot. I really wanted to see them get that win yesterday. I really thought it would have been a big statement for them to just go ahead, go to Chicago, sweep the Cubs. Can't be easy to sweep the Cubs in Chicago, no matter how their team is. Look, the Cubs are not even as bad of a team as their record says they are. They still have some really high quality pitching and some really good players. We need an outfielder that can hit. If I'm Dave Dombrowski, do we dive into the Cubs lineup a little bit and see if maybe Cody Bellinger or something is available to play outfield for us? It wouldn't be the craziest thing to make a phone call on there. I hope you had a great 4th of July as well. I did, but I'm paying the price today for having a good 4th of July. So yeah, it's going to be a long day today. Between the show and between work, it is going to be a long ass day. Yeah, yeah, that's all I could say about the 4th of July. I enjoyed it, but I'm not enjoying the repercussions right now. So it was important that they get that win yesterday. They did not, and you know what? So I thought about making jokes about Sanchez and he stinks and all this kind of stuff just because he had one clunker, just to have a little fun. But what it does is yesterday's game puts me in a position where I want to have a serious conversation about what the expectations are for Christopher Sanchez going forward. It was only his second time this year, I believe, that he's given up more than 3 runs. I'm double checking. Yeah, only the second time he's given up more than 2 runs this year. Um, what should these expectations be? What can Christopher Sanchez do? At this point, we're talking about maybe needing a fifth starter in the rotation, and that's it. Can we expect Christopher Sanchez? Who is he? Is he the guy for the first 12, 13 outings, which was dominant out of left field, a guy that no one expected to be anywhere near as good as he pitched? Or is Christopher Sanchez somewhere in between yesterday and where he was? Is he a guy that's realistically more suited to be the fifth starter in a rotation? I really think we've put a lot of high expectations on Christopher Sanchez. When you think about it, he's already 27. He's not like he's a young spring chicken. He is who he is. He's not going to get much better. It's not like he's going to develop into something else. He is who he is. So I hope we haven't put undue expectations on this kid. And I hope that he can bounce back in the Dodgers series. But realistically speaking, I don't know what to expect from him. Good morning, Steve. I hope you had a great 4th of July, my man. Thanks for popping on yesterday from work. I appreciate it. I think he's a sub-4 ERA guy. Yeah, but he's been pitching to the tune to a nearly sub-2 ERA guy. So what my thought process is he a guy that is just going to be a guy that's just lights out 3 starts and then the 4th start gets bombed? Or do you think he levels out and just turns into a guy that's a 6-inning, 3 to 4 run per outing? Just a what do they call it? Is he just a quality start guy? Because let's be honest, we've enjoyed this ride with Christopher Sanchez this year. The guy's been insanely great. But I mean, it wasn't that long ago, late last year, where he was bouncing between the rotation and the bullpen. He wasn't even a regular. He wasn't even locked to make this team. We've seen this before from pitchers in baseball, where they have these little bursts, and you just don't know, what to expect from him. I think he's a guy that if he levels out at right around 3.8, 3.9, elephant, that means he's going to have a couple more bad starts because his ERA, even after yesterday, still is sub-3. I just don't know what we put on. Do we need to get – everyone says we need a fifth starter. Do we really need a third or fourth starter so Sanchez can be the 5th best guy? I mean, because he would be the best 5th guy in baseball. Just trying to think about those kind of things and where we should be putting the expectations on him. Well, obviously, Adam, everybody's got – I think I would have more confidence in you going out there and pitching than Taijuan Walker. And that's fine. I get that. I think that is fair. Everybody has more confidence in everybody than Taijuan Walker. So my expectations are that Taijuan Walker does not see the mound for the Phillies ever again. My hope is that, at least. Now, if Mercado can pitch well again and hold on to that fifth spot for a little bit, hey, if I'm the Phillies, I'm not just looking at offensively speaking. I'm looking at the Cubs if I'm Dave Dombrowski pitching as well. I mean, they've thrown out there some pretty solid pitchers in the last 3 games. So maybe Dave Dombrowski should be making some phone calls to Chicago to see where they are with selling pitchers, selling hitters, and stuff like that. Good morning, Duck. Hope you are well this morning. Hope you are good. Hope you're not as hungover as I am after the 4th. I think he will kind of be like Eflin. Bunch of good starts, followed by stretches of bad, mediocre. Just think with Sanchez, you will see less stink. Yeah, I was pretty harsh throughout Eflin's time here, talking about him. I never really was a huge fan of his or his game. But then after he left, I realized how much I missed him because of people like Taiwan Walker. So yeah, maybe the Eflin. Let's just hope Sanchez doesn't have any of the injury issues that Zach Eflin did. Because if you remember, Zach Eflin was always getting hurt, whether it was his back or I think it was his back that he would constantly have flare up and miss time. Someone like Zach Eflin, I don't even know what Zach Eflin's doing this year at this point. Let's lean in here and Google search Zach. Oops, fat fingers are a thing. Zach Eflin. There's Zach Eflin's name. Zach Eflin is still with Tampa. That's right. So far this year, he's only pitched. Oh no, he's 5-5. He's got 16 starts, 5-5 record. I can't even. This screen is so tiny today. My eyes just don't work. He's got a 4.19 ERA. Yeah, he's not doing too much this year with Tampa. I mean, maybe that's a name. Maybe we revisit the name of Zach Eflin and see if there's a trade proposal there to solidify the back end. Because at least we know that come playoff time, if he's not going to be part of the playoff rotation, I think he signed a 2-year deal with Tampa when he went there. So this would be the end of it. So maybe there's something to that. Maybe something to Eflin being coming back home too. Who you have 4th of July pizza? What? We didn't have 4th of July pizza. I wasn't making 4th of July pizza. Who was the worst pitcher? Taiwan Walker or Jake Arrieta, dude? Talk about 2 big name pitching contracts that might have been bigger waste than money spent on Tobias Harris, honestly. And I bought into Jake Arrieta so many times. Like, this is the time that he's turning around. And he just never did. Just like I bought into, which is probably why I won't buy into Taiwan Walker. So I probably burned myself with, Jake Arrieta opinions so many times. Jake Arrieta was so bad. But Taiwan Walker, I think was worse. I think is worse. Eflin is always either overrated or underrated. There's no middle ground when assessing him. Yeah, and that's kind of, I'll admit, I always claimed he was overrated. I always did. I couldn't find the middle ground, and I don't know what it was with Eflin. I just did not see it. I didn't. Do I grill? I grilled yesterday. I had some chicken kebabs, marinated in a sweet chili lime sauce, some pasta salad, some corn on the cob. Just the wife and I. Far too many beers. Predecessed by the Bloody Mary on the show. Followed up after all the beers with some Tito's on the rocks. Hence why I can't open my eyes today because I am beyond belief hungover today. Plain and simple. There's a little spinning going on as I'm trying to read these comments today. That's just the case. That's what happens when you adult partake a little too much. And then that's why you also make 2 espressos for the morning show versus 1 because you're going to need the caffeine to get through the day, which is going to be imperative for me today as well to get through it because I just don't know how don't know how today is going to go. So anyway, still spinning, doing you overdid it. Dang. Oh, I way overdid it yesterday. Way overdid it yesterday. The Bloody Mary, probably 12-pack of beer, and then the vodka after that. The vodka is what puts you over the top. Straight vodka always puts you over the top when you just take that dive right there. That's never a good thing. Anyway, so we start this Braves series. Let me get back to the right page here. You got Aaron Nola going tonight against Max Fried, who we've had problems with in the past. And Max Fried, it's the thing. The Cubs had a below 500 record, but they threw 2 pretty elite pitchers at us. The Braves are 9 games behind us, but they're going to throw 2 of the 3 pitchers this weekend to really elite pitchers that are having phenomenal seasons. So expectations based off of losing that last Cubs game, it makes it important that the Phillies at least get 1 out of 2, or 1 and 2, if not 2 and 1. We don't want the Braves to come out and build any momentum against us this weekend. It's almost Like in a theory, is it crazy to say that the Phillies might need to? It's more important that they take 2 out of 3 against the Braves than it is to take 2 out of 3 at home against the Dodgers this weekend. The Dodgers are chasing us for the 1 seat in the National League, and they're really close, but they're the Dodgers and they're whatever. Is it more important to keep that distance to guarantee that NL East crown by taking care of business against the Braves, your bigger rival, or is it more important to just make sure it doesn't matter who you beat, that you just go 3-3 this weekend? Now, if we had Bryce Harper, if we had Kyle Schwarber back, if we had JT Real Muto back, I would have no concern about going 3-3. I would expect 4-2, honestly, in the series. But with these guys still out and not knowing when in the next week that these guys are coming back, it's a concern. Are we concerned that they're rushing Bryce Harper back for the fact that so he could play in the All-Star game? You know it means a lot to Bryce Harper to start and play in the All-Star game. His first time as a first baseman. Do you think there's any concern that we're rushing him back? It's a hamstring. Hamstrings are a problem. Trey Turner had flare-up after flare-up and took 8 weeks to come back from his. And we're talking about rushing Bryce Harper back in a 2-week stretch from a hamstring strain. It bothers me. It concerns me. It slightly makes me worry that you're putting him at risk. I don't know. I would hope they say that I would hope they're being smart enough, seeing the big picture. But I don't know. I don't know. Not sure. This one wasn't as good as the first one I made today. So that's that. Guys, Phil, you worry too much. All right. I do worry because worrying brings great conversation. What do you worry about, K1? What is your biggest worry? There we go. What is K1's biggest worry in all of sports? All of life. I want to know what your biggest worry. My biggest worry is, are the Phillies going to win X amount of games? My biggest worry is Fletcher Cox and Haason Reddick both left this defense. And who did we better replace? Or who are you more concerned with who we replaced them with? They're my concerns today. Will the Phillies win enough games? Are they bringing Bryce Harper back too soon? And the defensive line. I'm more concerned about the defensive line than I am the secondary at this point with the Eagles. They should keep him out till after the All-Star break so we have him for the stretch run. I agree, Adam. I kind of feel like this whole, he might come back for the Dodgers series. Like, is it really necessary to push it with these guys? I know Kyle Schwarber's, it was just a groin issue, and it was very, very minor. They say he's 95% already. I want to hear him back 100%. I don't want him back 95%. So we need these guys. Phil is a worry ward. Yeah, worrying creates good conversation. Worrying creates better conversation than not. You worry about the economy. You and me both. That's not sports related, but that is something that always bothers me and worries me. What if? What? I don't even know what NVIDIA is. I have no idea what that is. It could be a joke. It could be something else. I have no clue. You might be trolling me. I have no idea. Jimmy McGinty, a real man, admits his fears. That what I'm asking you to do here today. Fears. Let's talk about them. I'm scared of spiders. Yeah, those little itty bitty ones. And then, of course, Sugar Shane Falco goes quicksand. Okay. Which I have actually been in quicksand before. It is not pleasant, just so you know. And it's scary as hell, just so you know. Not a pleasant experience. Worry, hashtag worry ward. Okay. Okay, Mitchie Poo. I see how it is. You want to get put back on the ban list. Calling me a worry wart, that might do it. Starting a hashtag Phil is a worry wart. That might get you back on the ban list. Video is the highest value stock right now and make video and AI processors. Oh, I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna write it down. NVIDIA. Oh, look it up. Maybe I want to make an adjustment to more of my portfolio. Saquon is far worse than Christian McCaffrey. Nick Wright says. When we talked about Saquon Barkley a little bit yesterday, Travis, you missed that about the whole thing that's going on and Hard Knocks with the Giants. And I saw today, they spent all this time talking about how you can't pay Saquon whatever. That's what, the GM Joe Schoen or Sheowen or whatever his name is, and Mara, the owner, were talking about. You can't pay Saquon when you're paying a $40 million quarterback. And I don't know if you guys know this. The cap hit this year for who they are paying, Devin Singletary, is actually higher than the cap hit that the Eagles are paying Saquon Barkley. So they misjudged the Saquon Barkley thing. And it makes me very happy that they're so upset about it. It makes me even more excited to see what Saquon Barkley is going to bring to the table. And I'm trying to figure it out, and I haven't figured it out yet, how to phrase it. So I'm saving it for a show next week or whatever. Is the percentage of the offense that Saquon Barkley is going to be involved in versus A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. The running back should, in theory, touch the ball more frequently than one single wide receiver. So I'm trying to figure out the numbers between maybe multiple wide receivers or everybody else, see what the percentage was that DeAndre Swift or Miles Sanders the last 2 years touched the ball versus everybody. I got to figure it out. But I'm curious to see if maybe Saquon's success and what he is going to be capable of doing in this offense this year, how much it takes away from, is A.J. Brown not going to have a chance at 1,500 yards? Is he more realistically to get 1,200 yards? Devontae Smith, instead of 1,300 yards, maybe he gets 1,100. Is that how it's going to play out? Because you got to think Saquon Barkley, between passing and rushing, is going to come to end somewhere in that 1,800-yard range, maybe more. It's going to be interesting. So I'm trying to figure out how to phrase that and how to set that conversation up with the Eagles. Ralph, cell phone's giving me cancer. Oh, man. I mean, most people don't put their cell phones up to their ears anymore. They just talk on speakerphone in public like this. Is that why people do that? One of the most annoying things at the pizza shop, always, not worrying, annoying things that customers do at the pizza shop is they walk into the pizza shop on speakerphone talking to someone and come up to the counter where customers are, and they put their finger up and tell me, hold on a second, I can't talk to you yet. I can't place my order yet. I'm talking to someone. I hate people that talk on speakerphone. Why? I don't need to hear your conversation. You want to do it in your backyard, that's fine. You want to do it in your car, that's fine. But when you talk on your speakerphone in public, it annoys, and I don't care if it's because cancer and brain cells is your worry from cell phones. Correct, Duck. I just, my wife does the investments. I don't know anything about our investment portfolio. I know we got a retirement fund. I know we got an S&P thing. I know we've got stocks. I just don't know what. Told my wife she better have a blueprint on what to do if something ever happened to her, because I have no idea where all our money is. She's the financial person. I'm glad you did not suffocate and get deleted in quicksand. Let me tell you something. Story. I was golfing. I was somewhere on vacation in some exotic island. I hit my tee shot. It sliced far right. There's an area that said, "Do not go over here." It was like a blocked off area. It was. And I was dumb enough to ask the guy I was playing golf with, who had played there before. I'm like, "Oh, my ball, it's sitting up right over there. Can I just run over there and grab that golf ball? Don't want to lose that golf ball." So I ran out to go get the golf ball, and it was quicksand. And I just started to go down. And I started to scream and struggle. They had to go grab a rope and throw it. I was waist deep by the time they started pulling me out of it. And I saw my life flash before my eyes. I was like, dude, I am going down with the ship. And it was not pleasant. Giants should have never showed that side of their behind the scenes. Absolutely. It's an extremely bad look. I mean, we talk about the Sixers and Daryl Morey and how little faith and how poorly run the Sixers organization is at times. But, man, if you look around football, basketball, probably baseball, there are so many organizations that don't do things the right way. The Giants, I mean, I know Hard Knocks is a behind-the-scenes look, but I'm sure the team has some say on what conversations are had in front of cameras and not in front of cameras. And that Saquon conversation, well, the two or three of them, the one with the scouts, and then the one with Joe Mara, the owner, should never have been put on TV. Should have never been recorded. My guess is, without knowing the situation in detail, that GM of the Giants will not make it till next year. This is his last year. If this doesn't work out for them, which it shouldn't, I mean, they clearly say they got to see what they got in Daniel Jones and then move on. So even Daniel Jones in that video is put on watch to know that this is it for him. They're going to move on from him after this year if he doesn't do anything. And they took his biggest weapon away. So it's a very bad look for the Giants organization. Nolan Smith breakout season, just wait, you'll see. That's actually interesting that you say that because I'm having the thought process today. What's a bigger loss slash who are you more concerned with? Who's the replacements? You know, a bigger role for Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Milton Williams with the loss of Fletcher Cox, or is the loss of Haason Reddick a bigger loss with Bryce Huff as the replacement? But I didn't throw Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith could, in theory, do some of the replacing of Haason Reddick. And I don't know. I'm still torn on Nolan Smith. I still think Nolan Smith will be a very good football player. I just don't know if he's got the size to sustain being a major part of a defense. I mean, he's a small outside linebacker, edge rusher, whatever the cool term is these days. I don't know. Maybe, my concern is that Bryce Huff can't replace Haason Reddick because he's never, last year was his best year, his only breakout year. And he only played, 43, 44% of the snaps for the Jets? Haason Reddick was a 75% snap guy. So just using numbers, if he played 75 out of every 100, but this guy's only playing 45 of every 100, who's going to play those other 30 snaps? Along with the other snaps when Haason Reddick wasn't on the field. Now, is Nolan Smith a guy that you're ready to see on the field 30, 35% of the snaps of a defense? I mean, you're going to have to see him on the field. You're going to have to give him that shot. But are you confident that he can make an impact every 30 out of every 100 snaps? I don't know. It's like the Jersey Giants front office have never watched The Godfather. Yeah. You don't talk family business. You don't talk business in front of the family. You just don't. The Buddy Hield trade to Golden State. What's there to think about? I see so many overreactions to this. Because everyone's like, oh my God, we only got a 2031 second-round draft pick for Buddy Hield. I'm pretty sure it opens something up trade-wise for us later. So when we come to the deadline, you got another second-round pick you could trade, but also it gives us the option to bring somebody in a trade exemption. It's a smart move. Using the sign and trade helps them out. You get a pick. You traded 3 second-round picks to get them, and you aren't bringing them back. So you got one of those second-round picks back in this. I don't think there's no way they're keeping Buddy Hield. Just the way this offseason's going, he was not coming back. It's a shame we never got to see Buddy Hield with a healthy Joel Embiid. In theory, that should have worked. It is what it is. He got a 2-year, $18 million deal. It was 3 years, 21. But the third year was only $3 million, and it's an option year, so it's nothing. So it's a 2-year, $18 million deal. The Sixers were never in a place to give Buddy Hield $9 million a year. So it is what it is. I could care less that he moved on. I saw enough of him to know that he's nothing but a shooter that went ice cold while he was here in Philly. Should never have paid Jones $40 million and paid Barkley his $12. Yeah. I mean, has there been a contract in recent memory in all of sports that literally every single person in the world knew was a bad contract and played it out? I mean, it's literally a worse contract. I would take a max contract to Tobias Harris 10 times over a $40 million a year Daniel Jones. And the fact that I think he's entering year 3 of that contract. Like, he's playing out almost the majority of this contract. All the money that I would take Kirk Cousins and what his new Falcons contract puts him at, something like $400 million in career earnings. I would take overpaid Kirk Cousins as better contracts than this Daniel Jones contract. The Giants organization is just so poorly run. It's enjoyable to see. There's never there has been nothing on tape that shows Jones had what it takes to take this team anywhere near the playoffs. None. Now, I will give him the benefit of the doubt in the sense where they have not given him a wide receiver. Not one good wide receiver in the last 3 years. They haven't. There have been a lot of injuries. The offensive line has been trash. The defense has not been good. But he did have Saquon Barkley. And you know what? Brian Daboll, their head coach, was somebody that during the interviewing cycle, when we interviewed and hired Nick Sirianni, was my top choice. I wanted him to be the Eagles coach. I liked what he did in Buffalo. And if you notice, Buffalo's kind of regressed the last couple of years since he's left Buffalo. Josh Allen has had a little bit of a regression since he's left Buffalo. So, he's a really good coach, and he can't get anything out of Daniel Jones. I don't even know if Daniel Jones should be a backup in the NFL at this point. That's how bad of a quarterback he is. Nolan is sub 4.4 edge freak athlete. That's fine. Get it. So you're saying you are confident that Nolan Smith can play 35% of the snaps and be effective in year 2 when he barely played 35 snaps all of last year combined. Making up that number. I'm not sure the exact number, but you get what I'm getting at there. I hope you're right. I hope he's a freak athlete. Freak athletes don't always translate to freak football players. Freak athletes are just freak athletes. Doesn't mean they're going to be successful. Jalen Carter becomes 99. We ain't got none to worry about. So, but see, here's the thing. Jalen Carter can't fully replace Fletcher Cox, Travis, because Jalen Carter already played 50, 60% of the snaps. Now, maybe he can get up to 65%. Maybe he can play 65%. Jordan Davis is going to have to hit that 50% threshold. At least, I hope he's ready physically for it. His skill set's ready for it. Just can he handle it? And Milton Williams, I'm a huge Milton Williams fan, Travis. Massive. I hope Milton Williams can play 60% of the snaps and be effective. We're going to find out, though. But they're your 3 big guys. And I kind of feel like, Fangio's an interesting name to bring up. And I have a Fangio question for next week that I'm saving. I'll save that for later in this concerns category. But Fangio's experience, Fangio is not a rookie, coordinator. If anybody could figure out the pieces to the puzzle and how they all work together, Vic Fangio should be that guy. But the replacement parts for Cox versus the replacement parts for Reddick is something that I think I can't figure out weighing what concerns me more. I think I'm leaning more towards edge. I'm more concerned with Huff, and I guess for you, K1, Nolan Smith replacing Reddick. I don't think people realize how great Haason Reddick's been the last 2 years for the Eagles. Like, he was paid as a mid-level end, but he plays at an elite high level. On a high snap count, he does a lot of stuff out there. And while Fletcher Cox played amazing the last couple of years based off of his age and stuff like that, I think the talent level and the pedigree is there with those 3 guys replacing Fletcher Cox's snaps versus the 2 guys that are replacing Haason Reddick. Who will get more snaps, Nolan Smith or Trotter Jr.? Nolan Smith, without a doubt. Trotter Jr. is the number 3, as a third-string linebacker right now. Trotter Jr. is going to be on special teams. To me, Trotter Jr., if he sees more than 2 or 3 snaps a game on defense, if he sees more than 25 snaps the entire year on defense, that means we've got problems. That means there's some major injuries. That means somebody performed very poorly. Trotter Jr. should barely see the field this year. What was it like? Nakobe Dean's rookie year, he saw like 6 snaps in one game, and that was pretty much it. That's what you're going to get with Trotter. While Nakobe Dean still has a lot to prove, Nakobe Dean is still ahead of him. Devin White and Zach Lloyd, Braun Bond is still the starting linebackers at this point. Nakobe Dean's fighting to try to get into that group. I have high expectations for Devin White to kind of rebound his career here in Philly. I have high hopes. They might be hopes that are going to be disappointed, but I'm hoping Devin White could do that. I don't think they wanted Buddy. I don't think they wanted Buddy Hield back at that price at all. I think they have other plans with all that. With whatever they would have given Buddy Hield to keep him, better just to recoup one of those second round picks, pick up any exceptions and cap you can with that, and just move on. I think they have other plans. Maybe Jared McCain is part of that plan. Jalen Nolan Smith needs more technique. In college, he was more of a reliant on athleticism. Exactly. And that goes to my point, Nooms, that yes, Nolan Smith is a freak athlete. But freak athletes don't always turn into great athletes. Does that make sense? Freak athletes don't always turn into great athletes. Freak athletes don't always turn into great basketball players. Freak athletes don't always turn into great football players. Maybe that's the way to say it. So the athleticism is there for Nolan Smith. It's can somebody mold that athleticism into a great football player? Bryce Huff has been molded into a good player last year. Let's be honest, Bryce Huff's in his third or fourth year. That was the first time he ever did it. Yeah, it was the first time he ever had any consistent opportunities. And realistically, he played, like I said, 45% of the snaps. But I'm more concerned with Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff being a one-hit wonder, replacing Haason Reddick, than Cox Davis and Milton Williams replacing Fletcher Cox. Overpaid Cousins will put asses in seats and get them to the playoffs. They won't see exactly. Kirk Cousins is going to put up a lot of shallow stats. Kirk Cousins is going to get you to playoff contention. Daniel Jones ain't doing shit. I mean, Kirk Cousins has been paid now with this most recent contract. So I think it's really like close to $400 million in career earnings now for Kirk Cousins once this contract with Atlanta plays out. Daniel Jones, though, $160 million over 4 years. Man, one of the worst contracts probably. Seriously, Daniel Jones' contract or Tobias Harris's contract, what is a worse contract? Let's write that down. My pen just broke, so I got to find a pencil here. I want to write this down. This is a poll question for the weekend. I can't even write it. Jones versus Toby. I hope I remember to put that on Twitter later today as a poll. I think that's a funny conversation right there. Nolan is still young. The technique will come. Yeah, absolutely. I hope so. I'm not. There are people out there, K1, and I'm sure you've seen it, that are anti-Nolan Smith, bust Nolan Smith. I am not. Remember, how many years did it take before Brandon Graham lost that bust name tag? It was a good 3-4 years before Brandon Graham became the Brandon Graham that we consider now one of the greatest Eagles of all time. So I'm not writing Nolan Smith off, but I'm looking at 2024 as a year that we're trying to win a Super Bowl. And I'm saying, is Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff good enough today to replace? What would you say, having Haason Reddick or Bryce Huff and Nolan Smith? Which side of the equation gives you a better shot at winning the Super Bowl today? And I'm concerned that Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff are not good enough to replace the production you got from Haason Reddick at this moment. They may be. I may be wrong. But concerns me for sure is part of the conversation. Babel would have been a good head coach here in Philly too. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not trying to say I'm very happy with Nick Sirianni as their head coach. I'm fine with Nick Sirianni as our head coach. I hope Nick Sirianni succeeds. It's better for the future of this franchise if Nick Sirianni succeeds and is here long term. I'd rather have a coach here for 10, 12 years and have that consistency at the top. But Brian Daboll at the time was my top choice. Who else? Arthur Smith was a hot name. McDaniels was a hot name for a lot of people. Daboll was always my guy, though, because I saw Josh Allen and what he had done with Josh Allen. I'm not a big Buffalo Bills head coach, Sean McDermott fan. I don't think he's a very good head coach. I think Daboll had a lot of the success there was from him. So that was just my opinion there. thinking he's talking about Jerome Brown. Who's talking about Jerome Brown? I saw the 99. I get that. I got the Jerome Brown reference with the 99. I don't think there is much to worry about in terms of coaches and players on the Eagles defense. Slay, like Fangio's style, if he has an issue, talks in his office. No BS crapping on a player in practice. We're gonna talk, I think, next week a lot about the coordinators and their roles this upcoming season. But yes, I do really like the fact that, let's be realistic. We got a very young defense. The defensive players are going to look to their defensive coordinator and not see this young, hotshot, up-and-coming coordinator that might be underqualified for the position. They're going to see a guy that's been around for 20, 30 years coaching, maybe longer than that. And they're going to know whatever he says, they're going to respect it, and they're going to have there's going to be that backing to it that what he says has onus. And that, okay, if he says it, we're going to do it. I think you mean freak athletes don't turn into great players. Yeah, that's why I said they don't turn into great football or great basketball players afterwards. I think you know what I meant there. That's the hangover speaking today. Excuse me. But yeah, you got the point that I was making there. Buddy isn't a good basketball player, just a good shooter. You guys remember those first 4 games when Buddy Hield came to Philadelphia from in that trade? He was putting up 20 points a game. We're talking, oh my God, he's a defender. He's a distributor. He's this and that. That was just like that was just like the honeymoon. And then after the honeymoon with the Sixers ended, Buddy Hield fell off. Buddy Hield got divorced so fast. After that, it was basically just a little honeymoon, a little fun in the sun, and then boom, gone, back to reality. Yeah, and if he's not shooting well, and that short little sample size, he got cold. He didn't get to play with Joel. I don't know. Bo Callahan or Daniel Jones. I don't know Bo Callahan's contract or whatever. No one has emptier calories than Cousins. Justin Herbert does. I will continue my mission in making sure everybody knows Justin Herbert is the most empty, shallow quarterback in the NFL. He's never going to win jack shit, just like Phillip Rivers, just like Kirk Cousins. And as soon as he blew that game against the Jaguars 2 years ago in the playoffs, it gave me all the backing for my argument I ever need. So, empty calorie stats, Justin Herbert 1, Kirk Cousins 2. Great fantasy football quarterbacks, terrible actual quarterbacks. Will the D-line make the secondary look good, or will the secondary make the D-line look good? I think that's a good question, Steve. And it goes back to 2022 a little bit. Okay? Goes back to, the 70, 71 sacks we had 2 years ago. Was that a product of the cornerbacks, James Bradbury, Darius Slay having all-pro years, having Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back there leading the league in interceptions? Was that 70 sacks a product of that? Or was all that sacks and pressure, is that why those secondary guys had such great seasons? I think a great D-line makes a secondary better a lot more frequently than a secondary makes the D-line better. Because there's very few lockdown elite cornerbacks that are at the level that would make the D-line better, especially in today's game where you can't sneeze on a guy without getting a personal foul called against you. Also, with this D-line, when you're talking about, the middle of the defensive line, the outside of the defensive line, with these new tackling rules, with the secondary, with these new tackling rules, how that affects what your expectations are for these guys. Look, you can't tackle a guy anymore. Plain and simple. You think there's a chance Slay could be traded by the start of the season? I mean, we talked about this yesterday very briefly on this show. And I've brought this idea up in the past. I don't think Darius Slay gets traded. I don't think the Eagles should trade Darius Slay. But in a scenario, we're going to put it like a 5% chance that if a team has a major injury in their training camp to one of their starting secondary guys, and if Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean are having great camps, and somebody called Howie Roseman and said, yo, we'll give you a third-round pick for Darius Slay, you have to at least consider it. It's very unlikely. We have all this depth in our secondary. Slay, still Bradbury. You got Mitchell and DeJean. You got Isaiah Rodgers. You got Avonte Maddox. You got Keely Ringo. You got Eli Ricks. I don't know what's going on with Zach McPherson, but you got him. There's other names out there. You got 9 guys that can make this roster. You keep about 6 or 7 cornerbacks. They only have 3 safeties still. But you have a lot of inexperience in that secondary. A lot of young guys and Darius Slay. So you don't realistically want to trade Darius Slay. But with all that depth, if someone called and said, yo, just say theoretically Darius Slay is worth a 5th-round pick right now, and someone calls and offers you a 3rd-round pick for a 30-plus-year-old cornerback, you kind of got to at least ponder it. If I'm Howie Roseman, somebody offered me a 3rd-round pick for Darius Slay right now, and as long as it helped my salary cap situation, I would accept it. I would let it roll. I would. It's crazy. It's not going to happen, but I would. Here he goes again. Phil talking of, oh my God. You have a 12-year-old, horny, just hitting puberty boy's mind, Mitchie Poo. We need to have a sit down about this. Stop. You are all a bunch of childish children. Jones is a way worse contract when you compare his professional comparable starting quarterback skills and achievements per dollar and Harris to the same. The ROI. Since we're talking stocks and stuff like that, the ROI on Daniel Jones makes him the worst contract, by far. Buddy's first 4 games were due to adrenaline. Yeah, we've seen that before with athletes getting traded to wherever. They come out on fire and then they hit a brick wall. Absolutely. You call it adrenaline. I call it the honeymoon. Let's split it down the middle. Bo Callan equals Daniel Jones. Yeah, absolutely. Is from the movie Draft Day. Okay. I've never seen Draft Day, so I don't know. Yes, we know. I didn't know because I've never seen it. Bobby Hoyne is greater than dude. If you're old enough to remember Bobby Hoyne, you're okay by me. I was so hyped going into Bobby Hoyne's rookie year. I don't remember why. I was a teenager. I just remember being like, this is it. We got our guy. The future of the Eagles quarterback position is solidified. And he even had a game or two that was pretty good come college in rookie year. And then he was just atrocious. Fangio's defense requires a good to great secondary. That is a fair statement. And there's another reason not to trade Darius Slay to Adam's question. But I'm just saying with the depth in the secondary, if someone offered you a 3rd-round pick for Darius Slay, you would have to contemplate it. You'd have to go to Fangio and be like, can we do this and you still have success? You're trying to win a Super Bowl. You're expected to at least get to the Super Bowl. You can't just get rid of Darius Slay because of a 3rd-round pick unless you're confident in the other 6 or 7 guys can do the job. Good morning, Deebs. What's up? Hope you are well this morning. Hope you're not hungover like me today. Does Phil? I do not know. I've never seen Draft Day. Sorry. Slay is the vet voice they need more than Bradbury. Absolutely. And I do not expect James Bradbury. I know I've said he could make the team. I actually never actually said that. I said he should make the team. Be on the team entering camp to maybe build his value. We'll see. Maybe he plays safety. I know they want to try that out. But I agree. They need that. You think about it. There's Darius Slay and there's Brandon Graham. They're probably the only 2 guys on our defense that are over like 28 years old. Sweat's about 27. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's about 26, 27, I think. Outside of that, Slay and Graham are the only 30 or 30-year-older guys for sure. In my quick thinking here, you need a veteran guy that's been there for sure. I think he does. He forgot if I don't know. Buddy's last game though, Buddy. We can move on from Buddy. I stand corrected. Yeah, Quinion Mitchell will determine whether we can afford to trade Slay. Is it Quinion Mitchell or is it Cooper DeJean? Because I think Quinion Mitchell is already in their mind slotted in as a starting cornerback opposite of Darius Slay. In my opinion, he is. if the season started today, K1, in my opinion, based off of what I've heard, what I've seen said, Quinn Mitchell and Darius Slay are your starting cornerbacks. And I don't know who's starting in the slot just yet. But in my opinion, Quinn Mitchell is already slotted there. Now, can Cooper DeJean start or Isaiah Rodgers start in place of Slay? That would be why you would consider it. I really got to get some tighter screws on this mic. I keep bumping it and it falls. You were hyped because he lit up the Bengals in a 40-point game. Bobby Hoyen was such a letdown. Was it the Bengals? Fred, that was such a long time ago. Such a long time ago. I know he had one or two really good games early in his career, and then that was it. But I was hyped. I was. If DH Gate was around back then, I would have had a Bobby Hoyen jersey. Bobby Hoyen had an all right deep ball occasionally, sometimes. Sort of, kind of, occasionally, randomly. Buddy was just starting to figure out play next to Joe, but I just don't care. Look, the Buddy Hield thing, it's not a loss. It's not a big deal. Buddy Hield is replaceable. Ty Detmer all the way over Daniel Jones. I'll take Ty Detmer, Coy Detmer, AJ Feely. All of them over Daniel Jones. Damn straight. Was Ty Detmer the Heisman winner and Coy was the whip guy? Or was Coy the Heisman winner and Ty was the whip boy? I still remember when the Detmer, whichever one was the whip boy, started in that game against San Francisco. Then Harper extended his elbow and he was like shaking on the field violently. Slay is a team captain. I keep him over the third. Okay, I think that's fair. Like, this is just something that just came up in the conversation. So I'm not prepared with this argument one way or another, Fred. I'm just giving instant, thoughts when the topic is brought up. And I agree. You need him as a team captain, his veteran voice. What Fred, you would keep him over the third, so how about a second? You can't say you'd keep him over a second round pick, would you? I'm just throwing that. I think there's a 5% chance or less that he would be gone from this team before week 1. It is very soon. Someone will have to overpay to get him away from the Eagles. But in my mind, he still has enough left in the tank where a team might overpay. And you've got a very deep, young secondary. Problem is, if you trade him, who steps up in that? You already have lost Fletcher Cox as a defensive leader. Brandon Graham's at the back end of his career. Who else is the leader on this team? Jalen Carter already said earlier in the offseason he wants to take over that leadership role, but he is not there yet. So the team captain part of the Slay argument is why it's got to be a massive overpay for me to consider moving him. But again, Quinn Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Isaiah Rodgers, you got Keely Ringo, Eli Ricks, you got 5 young, talented cornerbacks, plus other guys there that could fill the on-the-field role to an extent. Bobby Hoyen was quarterback for the shot firework game. What? I don't even remember that one. Everyone say type I in the chat if Phil should go see draft day. Why? Like, it's not necessary, I don't think. Bradbury resurgence under Fangio. Look, I've said there's a chance that could happen as well. I said from day one that keeping James Bradbury at least through camp was a necessity to see if he can rebound. He was not as bad. He's not as bad as he was last year. He might not be all-pro level 2022, but last year he was like XFL level. James Bradbury is somewhere in between. James Bradbury probably could still be a starting cornerback in the NFL. All right, we got to get caught up in comments in a second here, but I do got to do some ad reads here real quick, guys. So if you guys need tickets to an Eagles game, if you need tickets to a Phillies game later this summer, any of the concerts, Zach Bryan, I don't know who's JT was in town last night. You could have gone there for JT tickets. Go to SherryTickets.com. There's no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Why would you go anywhere else to any of the other resellers? Go to SherryTickets.com. Use promo code EOP10 at checkout. Get you 10% off. If you need a more personal touch, you can call them directly, 610-494-5050. Just make sure you mention EOP10, trending in the AM, when talking to them. SherryTickets.com. Don't overpay with the rest. Save with the best. And, of course, our great friends at PhillySportsTrips.com. Go to their website. Sign up. Type in that you found them. through Edge of Philly Sports and Trending in the AM. They are the premier travel and tailgating experience company for the best fans in the world, Philadelphia sports fans, obviously. Great trip to Brazil. Week 1 of the NFL season for our Eagles taking on the Green Bay Packers. You can book that trip and travel package directly through them. Coming up in a couple weeks, just over a month, they're having a great tailgate Italian heritage celebration at Citizen Bank Park. They're taking deposits already for spring training next year to see the defending World Series champion Phillies, start their 2025 campaign. Obviously, trip to Miami to see the Philadelphia Union, even though the Union stink. And of all the other great Birds takeovers, like the trip to Tampa Bay in September, a bus trip down to Baltimore in December, and of course, takeover of Dallas, because F Dallas Week is November this year. So, guys, make sure you check them out, phillysportstrips.com. Back to the comments here, guys. It's going to be Slay and Rodgers. Okay. So you think Rodgers is starting over Quinion Mitchell as the outside corner 2? That is interesting. Because we all just thought when he was brought in last year, he was going to be a slot guy, maybe, the depth guy. I think Isaiah Rodgers, Duck, I agree that he has elite skill set. I agree that he could start. Everything I'm reading says he's better suited outside than inside, which that's a problem because I don't think we have many guys that can play in the slot compared to the outside. I think everybody slots outside on this team really well and not in the slot. So it'll be really curious to see where I think Rodgers will be on the field a lot week 1. Now, will he be starting? We'll find out. DeJean is probably nickel right now. I agree. But also, I've read just like Rodgers is better suited. I've read DeJean is better outside than on the inside. The Detmers will have longer careers than Jones by the end of their careers. Would anybody, after he makes his $160 million, Daniel Jones, is there any team that's even going to give him a chance? Like, realistically, how could you run an organization and be like, I'm going to give Daniel Jones a chance? Oh, my God. Mike McMahon was so bad. He started, was it a Thanksgiving game? He started a game in November one year. They lost by like 40-some. Oh, he was so bad. Mike McMahon. But I still probably take him over Daniel Jones. Chase Daniels, absolutely. Chase Daniels has made just as much money as Daniel Jones in his career. Chase Daniels is still probably backing up on somebody's team at this point. Man, Daniel Jones is that bad. I'd take A.J. McCarron as a backup over Daniel Jones right now on my team. The Phillies lost games against the Mavs and the Rockies as well. Can't win them all. I really think the Phillies are milking some games because Joseph, thank you for a comment, and we can talk Phillies as well again here. I don't think they're milking it. I don't believe teams milk it in baseball. I don't. They're just injured. There's a lot of guys down, and I'm not overreacting to them losing at all. I think it was important for them to win that. It just makes these next 6 games a little bit more important for the Phillies to go out there and at least go 3-3 over the next 6 games. I'd really like to see them go 2-1 against the Braves, but knowing that they start tonight against Max Fried, and I forget who else is going this series for the Braves, but 2 of their 3 best pitchers are going in this series for the Braves. It's in Atlanta. We're still short our 3 big boppers that are hurt right now. So it is going to be tough for this Phillies offense to generate a lot of runs against the Braves. You're going to have to hope Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez, and Michael Mercado, who are the 3 pitchers going in this Braves series, you're going to have to hope all 3 pitchers pitch lights out in this series. You're going to have to hope so, because otherwise we don't really stand much of a chance in this series with the matchups that are going on. I'll take a 1, but even still would be tough with no vets to help. So you wouldn't even take a 2 for Darius Slay. That's fine. And I'm not saying you're wrong in that. I think it's a little crazy. If I was offered a 2nd-round pick for Darius Slay, I wouldn't hang up the phone until the paperwork was drawn, because that's thinking more big picture. How much longer does Darius Slay really have in his career? And you've already invested a lot in that cornerback position. But that's fine, because I think you make good points about his leadership, his captain role. His skill set is still pretty good. So I think that's a reach, Fred, in my opinion. But I get what you're saying. Got a joke for you. Oh my god, I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. Um, stop, stop, stop. There's some dirty jokes. Marshawn hasn't been in the comments all day. And he goes out there and drops dirty jokes in the comments. It didn't wake me up. It didn't. We're not having comedy hour. I thought it was two little people. Yes, stop, stop. Don't. Yeah, don't read them for 2 minutes. Just pass over them all. Yeah. Monday night, Reggie White number retirement game against the Seahawks. It was brutal. I was there. Yeah, yeah. I'm here. Yeah, stop. I don't even know what I want to read here. Chase Daniels is backing up Justin Herbert with the Chargers. The dude's been a backup in the NFL for 27 years. I think he was backing up Bobby Hoying 30 years ago. That's how long he's been a backup in the NFL. And Chase Daniels might give the Chargers a better shot in the playoffs than Justin Herbert, honestly. Yeah, tip your waitresses. Yeah, exactly. Or tip your hosts. How about that, guys? Marshawn, okay, well, tip the host. It's okay. I believe it was 40-something to nothing. Was it 42? It was something like that. I know they got smoked. Mike McMahon was so bad. I remember reading, because that was a long time ago. I remember reading the headline, Eagles get McMahon. I'm like, ooh. But no, it was wrong McMahon. Didn't the Seahawks score it was 40-something. It was bad. Just don't get set, and I'll be satisfied, especially with the lineup we're trotting out there. Yeah. Just don't get swept. Yeah. I think, is it crazy to say that I would be content with the Phillies going 1-2 in this Braves series? Because of the pitching matchups, because Harper, Schwarber, and JT are all still out. That wouldn't be acceptable if those guys were playing. But it's with those guys out, with the pitching matchups, I'd be happy with 1-2. You'd only lose one spot. We're 9 games up over the Braves right now. We'd only fall down to 8 games ahead. We'd still have an 8-game lead over them if we go 1-2. I think that's fine. Braves fans will be like, oh my God, we're closing the gap. One game is not closing the gap. Stop, guys. Let's be professional here. Yeah, it was raining and snowing too. The worst. It was bad enough watching on TV, I'm sure. Slay and Rogers should start. Rogers looked great throughout mini camping. Quinn, you might need time to learn the different types of coverage. Okay. And that's where Rogers will take advantage. The only thing I'm concerned about with Rogers and camp and practice is one thing. In-game is something else. And I'm just trying to think of athletes that took long, full years off and then some. I think about Michael Vick. I think about Calvin Ridley. I think about there was another name I was thinking, and Plexico Burris. Guys that took long stretches of time off. And how quickly it takes them to get back into the flow of game speed. Game speed versus practice speed is different. And is anybody concerned that Isaiah Rodgers might need some time to get back up to game speed? For some reason, I'm thinking cornerback is not that hard for that. I'm thinking, but I could be wrong there. Chase Daniels might be the most douchebag name in all of Middle Earth. Yeah. Chase Daniels has to have picture. Yeah, probably. We had Jim McMahon too. Oh, I know. Late in his career. I got excited for it. Is the Temu Kirk Cousins. Dude, I'm a Temu guy. I just got 5 new pairs of shorts from Temu, and 4 of them are really good. And we spent $80 on Temu. I got 5 shorts, 3 hats. My wife got a couple. I think we got 19 items for $80, and 17 of 19 items are perfect. Chase Daniels is hand-me-down Kirk Cousins. I like Temu Kirk Cousins better. That's a better joke. Yeah, no. Now you just upped yourself. I don't know. Chase Daniels, the gluten-free Kirk Cousins or the Temu Kirk Cousins? I don't know. That's a tough one right there. Plaxico was shot in the leg. Isaiah Rodgers won't have that problem. I know. Different situations. Michael Vick went to jail. Different situation. I get it. But just saying. He'll be fine. That's what Brazil game is for. They probably, well, no, I shouldn't say that. Because I did get a Temu Jalen Hurts jersey. It's actually pretty good. Except for the fact it doesn't say the Eagles anywhere on the jersey. It just Hurts 0 and Hurts 1 and that's it. It doesn't say Eagles anywhere on the jersey. So yeah, there's that. Chase isn't even his real first name. We learn something new every day. I had no idea Chase Daniel's name was not Chase. Now, I'm not going to fact check BLSG here. I'm going to assume he's right, but that is what it is. Maybe Chase William Daniels needs to hire a lawyer to get his name officially changed to Chase Daniels. But if you need a lawyer for workers' compensation, motor vehicle, personal injury, criminal law, call the best in the state of Pennsylvania, David R. Cherry of the Cherry Law Firm. He is here to fight for you and get you what you deserve. No matter what situation you're in, he is the best. He'll take care of you. Give him a call, 610-565-0300, or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. When you do this, make sure you let him know. I heard about you. I need you to help me. But I heard about you on Trending in the AM on Edge of Philly Sports. Again, his number is 610-565-0300, or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Again, let David R. Cherry fight for you and get you what you deserve. See what I do there? I always find a way to segue into him. Always. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Cherry bomb away, guys. Just cherry bomb the comments away. William Chase Daniels is his full name. I have my sources. You got me on that one. Who knew? I didn't know. No clue. No clue whatsoever. My dad had a cherry bomb go off in his hand when he was 13. Damn. That sounds no good. No bueno. That does not sound like a pleasant thing to have happen right there. Not at all. So, yeah, I'm hoping everybody in the comments, I'm hoping the Core 12, I'm hoping everybody still has all 10 fingers and 10 toes from yesterday. You know, I hope nobody went and, what's his name from the Giants, did anything that he shouldn't have done with fireworks yesterday. Fireworks annoy me as a dog owner, as a person that has seen people make mistakes. Nah, like, leave it to the professionals. We don't need to be setting them off at random times of the night, but whatever. To what? James, what's up? How you doing? Yo, okay. Oh. Yeah, you guys are just chatting in the comments. That's all good. William Chase Daniels sounds like the guy that first heard Paul Revere. Actually, it's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid line there, Marshawn. That's a pretty solid. And not like your earlier dirty below the belt joke. This is a pretty solid thing. He may have been part of, and considering yesterday was the 4th of July, our Independence Day, I think it's a pretty relevant joke for the time of the year it is right now. So I like that. I like that. Guys, you are watching Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports, guys. Hit that like button, that share button, subscribe button, that follow button wherever you're watching, please. I know everybody's hungover today. I know the comments are a little low today. I know the algo is a little low today. It is what it is. Hungover Phil is not good morning viewing. I know. Jason Pierre-Paul, yeah. That's the alcohol from yesterday still making my brain forget basic names. But, yeah, Jason Pierre-Paul is the one that blew half his hand off with fireworks. Idiot. Complete and total idiot. I guess they named him Chase Daniel in the NFL because William Daniel wouldn't make much sense. So they just used his middle name as first. God, I don't even know. The things that come up on Trending the AM on a regular basis. Beyond me, where some of these comments come from. Like the things that we talk about randomly. I set the tone for the show, and then you guys just roll with whatever. It's just crazy. I just never know where we're going with this on a regular basis from you guys. But yeah, that's what makes Trending in the AM so special, I guess, right? The fact that we just don't know what's going to happen. His name was Chase already at Mizzou. Yeah. I think I remember he was even, when he was drafted, it was Chase Daniels. So at some point, it would be like me changing my name from Philip Stiefel to blank Stiefel using my middle name. See, that there's something that will fire up the comment section. The 20 people that are watching right now. What is Phil's middle name? Should I go by my middle name? Should I change my name to blank Stiefel? Here it is. What's the match game? Philip blank Stiefel. What is my middle name? It's not beard. It's not knowledge. I have a middle name. He was teammate of Jeremy. So he made Jeremy Macklin made Chase Daniels. Not Chase Daniels made Jeremy Macklin. On a side note, can I just say, since you brought his name up, that Jeremy Macklin might be the most underrated Eagles wide receiver of all time. Jeremy Macklin was a damn good wide receiver here. And I don't think he gets the credit he deserves for how good he was. He was in a downward time. He was in an awkward time in Eagles history, post McNabb, before Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz era. You know, when we didn't really have an identity. Jeremy Macklin, extremely, extremely underrated wide receiver. James Jones, I don't remember. Why should I can't even see your picture, but Nads and more. So now we know Phil's middle name is blank. Yeah, my middle name is blank. William Chase Daniels prepared the tea for the Boston Tea Party. Okay. Was William Chase Daniels a red coat, or was he part of the revolution? You're all very special to me. I got your back. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. My middle name is not William. That was my dad's name. That's my brother's name. But no, I was not. My dad was William Andrew Stiefel. My brother's William Andrew Stiefel Jr. I have no William in my name whatsoever. Jeremy Macklin and Brent Selleck were solid here. Brent, yeah, the thing with tight ends, I love looking at the history of the tight ends in this city. It was Chad Lewis with Brent Selleck as the backup. Then Brent Selleck became the starter. Then they drafted Zach Ertz, and he was the backup. Then Selleck went away, Ertz, and then they brought in Goddard. If you look at we've never had a down moment with tight ends. We might now. We don't have somebody to take over for Goddard eventually. But yeah, Jeremy Macklin and Brent Selleck were two really strong, solid players in this city that I don't think get the credit and respect they deserve. And I think in a different era of Eagles football, in any direction, they might have actually helped win the Super Bowl. Macklin was tough as hell too. Yeah, I don't know why I want to do this. You got me thinking about Jeremy Macklin now. I want to bring up his stat profile and just look at it because I think some of the stats he put up in his career, people don't realize how good he was. He had a short career too. He only played what, like 8 seasons in the NFL, but I mean, he had seasons. His 2014 season, he had 85 catches, 1,300 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Man, 143 targets. You know, he had some years. 2015 in Kansas City, 1,000-yard season, 8 touchdowns. Jeremy Macklin was a really, really good wide receiver in the NFL. If Chase Daniels ever has to play in the NFL game for Justin Herbert, Chargers fans would be like, his name is William Chase Daniels, and he is a grown man. Chargers fans are delusional. They would say he's great, and they are just as good with him. Yeah, yeah. Not UK1, Jacob Sports. We don't talk Jacob. Jacob is dead to all of us. Jacob is why I do this show. Because Jacob was supposed to be the alternative to the dial, guys. But they just turned into an online version of the dial. Jacob is no better than WIP or the fanny packs. No different. None whatsoever. I'm their favorite Washington fan. Well, are you the... Yeah, he's a Washington fan, I guess. There's no way a man named Chase anything was a revolutionary. Definitely a redcoat. Or maybe he was a spy. What was that show called on AMC about the first spy ring during the Revolutionary War? The actor Josh Bell or Jamie Bell was the star of it. It was actually a really good show. I didn't watch it when it was on TV. I watched it during COVID as a binge watch thing. I was really hooked. I love Revolutionary War timepieces, movies, TV shows, documentaries, and stuff like that. What was that show called? Was it just called not Spy? Turn? I forget. It was a really good show, underrated show. But maybe he was a spy for the Redcoats. Selleck was the first weapon drafted for McNabb. Yeah. Defected from Big Sills. Yeah. Phil Williams. No, that's not my middle name. Not it. Not it. You're going to have to pay me to find out my middle name. It's not Cosmo either. I'd be on Big Sil still. Why would you go and support those wackadoos over there? Don't support Big Sills. If you watch Big Sills, you're no offense, you're part of the problem. If you go there just to troll them, get in and out, one thing. But if you actually watch Big Sills, part of the problem. No offense. Big Sills is just a hot take, bogus person that just he's terrible. Selleck is still a big name in the city. I think he owns a. Yeah, Selleck still lives in the area. He still does a lot of charity stuff in the area as well. I know he's on Preston Steve all the time still too. Oh, you found the Cool Kids Club. This is the Cool Kids Club for sure. We really had Vic, Djax, Macklin, Shady, and Selleck, coached by Andy. Shame we couldn't win one. Dude, just think about all those names that are on this team. Man, that offense is not what our not as good as what we've got out there going out there this year with Hurts, AJ Smitty, Saquon, Goddard, I guess. But man, that was a pretty elite core on offense there. It's a shame we couldn't win with them. Macklin scoring that last non-special teams touchdown, the big comeback for New York. Yeah, it was fire. Stills, yeah, well, he didn't ban me, but I banned myself from him. Hey, how about the great FredX? Yeah, don't forget about FredX. The people's champ, right? The people's champ. Why they banned me, but dude named Xander unbanned. Oh, I don't know, guys. Scary Terry or Macklin? Terry McLaurin or Jeremy Macklin? I mean, I don't know. I mean, Terry McLaurin's a pretty phenomenal wide receiver in a bad situation. Ross St. Brown versus Macklin. Look, I'm biased towards my Eagles. I'm trying to think about these random one or the others. I you really put me to the screws here on those two. Chase never ran. Andy Reid could not stand FredX. No, he made FredX apologize to his right hand man, Millet Holstead, in front of the entire team. Yeah, I think I remember that story. I think it was called Turn. It might have been called Turn. Fantastic show, honestly. If you like revolutionary timepieces, yeah, for sure. Yeah. How much money do you want to reveal what your middle name is? I don't know. 5 cents, my man. I'm not really that worried. It's not that bad of a middle name. I just like to have something that nobody knows. Vic and Djax Hall. Deshaun Jackson's a Hall of Famer. I do not think Michael Vick's a Hall of Famer. I don't think so. But Djax should be. JJ is a rare Washington fan, but don't know why he still hangs with the Big Sills. If he's a Washington fan, he should be watching Ref the District's channel because that's the best Washington channel. If your middle name was William, though, it doesn't sound bad at all. Phil William Stiefel. Yeah, no, it's not it, though. I'm named after my mother's father, Philip. Just so you know. My middle name is Hugo, Fred Hugo Burns. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. Let's make up middle names for Phil that can't pronounce. My middle name is Bazudenhoot, K1, just so you know. I'm guessing Sal. No, it's Cosmo. Cosmo. No, we got to wrap this show up, and maybe I'll decide to tell you guys soon, but no. Guys, real quick, if you're out and about this weekend, you're in Delaware County, go check out Dolan's Bar. For 65 plus years, they've been the quintessential Irish American dive bar in Delaware County. Great food, great times, great everything. Make sure you check them out, dolansbar.com, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, wherever their social medias are. PJ, the boss man there, make sure you tell him you heard about him right here on EOP, Train the AM. And again, make sure you let them know, hey, I'd like to see a live 8 a.m. Bloody Marys and Train the AM from Dolan's Bar at some point in the future. Let them know. dolansbar.com in Ridley Park, guys. Make sure you check them out. And we're here in the final couple minutes here before we wrap this show up. They're not on right now, and some sports talk. Yeah. Hey, look, we're here every morning, James. Every morning talking what's trending in Philadelphia and everywhere else. 90 minutes, Monday through Friday. This is the show where everybody's opinion actually matters. You won't get banned from this show unless you say something somebody was in the comments making 69 jokes and they did not get banned. Okay? Just so you know. So, with that being said, tune in every day. You can bring any Washington comments into the conversation, and we will address them with you, whether they're Commanders, Nationals, the Wizards. I don't really know much about the Capitals, but I could try. I'm laughing at it. I can't even try to pronounce it. Philip James. I will say this, Adam. You got the initial right. Okay, it does begin with a J. Frederick Hugo Burns III. Sounds like a king. It does actually. Cosmo. Is it Cosmo spelled with a K in KK? Kramer? Cosmo Kramer? I don't know. But I'm not Cosmo. Cosmo. That episode where they find out his name because of his mom, Babs, of Seinfeld, was just on the other day. That's why I'm thinking of Cosmo so much here. Because I just watched that episode recently. What letter is your... I just answered that. It begins with a J. Yeah, I had to think about it for a second. Great show, like always. Yeah, Adam, have a great weekend. It's going to be a hot one out there this weekend, guys. We didn't get the rain that we expected. It is going to be hot at the pizza shop. I'm going to be at the pizza shop all freaking weekend long. But it is what it is. Saul. No. You better not call me Saul. That's what up. That's what we're doing here every day. Phil's a better of a Peter. It could be. Phil's a better of a Peter. It could be it too. I don't even know. With me, none are safe. Gotcha. Jehoshaphat. You guys are hilarious. That's correct. That is my name right there. Philip the Joseph Stiefel. That is accurate. I could be called PJ. You guys can just call me PJ from here on out, okay? You got there a second before me. Yeah, Phil, Joseph. You guys could just call me PJ. It's all right. I wish I was Julius Caesar. Well, not Julius Caesar, but Julius. That would be a pretty good name. Guys, we got to wrap it up right there. It's going to be a long weekend for me. It's going to be a long weekend for everybody. We'll be back Monday. I got some really good Eagles topics for next week. We will obviously recap the Phillies-Braves series this weekend on Monday. We'll see. Rumors are heating up about Brandon Ingram getting traded soon. Maybe the Philadelphia 76ers can find a way to get Ingram here too. I don't know. Yeah, I'm Jesus. You said it, not me, just so you know. But anyway, let's have a great weekend, guys. We'll be back Monday. Lots of Eagles talk next week. Lots of Phillies talk. We are literally like 2.5 weeks from training camp starting. Ryan Rothstein from 97.3, ESPN 97.3, will be joining me on Tuesday, I believe, next week. We're still hashing that out, whether it's Tuesday or Wednesday, but I think it's going to be Tuesday. We have Chris Franklin the week after that. Still working on some other guests maybe for next week's show. But Phillies, Eagles, maybe some Sixers all on the agenda. We'll see what happens this weekend. That's right. Ring the bell. Go Birds. Hey, NFL near. Be patient. It's coming. I don't know about Washington, but we start the 23rd training camp for rookies. So, guys, that's right. Yeah, that is my name right there. Yeah, that's right. That is right. And it's 1L, not 2 L's, just so you know. 1L, not 2 L's in Philip, just so you know. Guys, with that being said, we got to wrap this show up for the day. I am Phil Stiefel. This is Trey in the AM. Please make sure you hit that like, share, subscribe button, guys. I'd greatly appreciate it. But ring that bell, Phillies, this weekend. Go Birds, and bubbles up, guys.